Example number 3. Find the 8th term in 4 minus x to the whole 7. We need to find that specific 8th term in 4 minus x to the whole 7 binomial series. The equation to find the general term is t sub r plus 1 equals to n choose r into a to the n minus r times b to the r. This is the general term equation to find any specific term for the binomial series. Since we want to find the 8th term, therefore I can write t sub 8, which equals to t sub 7 plus 1 equals to 7 choose 7 into 4 to the 7 minus 7 times x to the 7. I want to find the 8th term, therefore I put t sub 8. T sub 8 means 8th term. Can I write 8 in form of 7 plus 1? Just shift t sub 8 into t sub r plus 1. What will be the value when you add to the 1 to become 8? Obviously 7. So there we got the value for the r. This is actually my r. So plug in that value for the r here and r here and r here. This yellow is my r. But what is my n? My n is 7. This blue is my n. Because look, the power for the binomial series is 7 here. So plug in 7 here for the n, 7 here. It actually equals to 1 times 4 to the 0 times x to the 7. Let me first identify the number of terms. We're gonna have 8 terms for this respective binomial series. Since my n equals to 7, therefore the number of terms are n plus 1, which is 7 plus 1 equals to 8. 8 will be the total number of terms for 4 minus x to the whole 7. This 8th is the last term. We're gonna find the last term. We can directly put 1 for this expression because look, we already know that in n choose n, if this blue n equals to the r, then it equals to 1. If we have 0 for the r, then it also equals to 1. So we can directly put here, but never mind, let me go through the process. We will use the factorial method to calculate the coefficient. According to the factorial method, we have n factorial or r factorial into n minus r factorial, which equals to 7 factorial or 7 factorial into 7 minus 7 factorial. Plug in the value of n and r. My n is 7 and my r is 7. So 7 minus 7 is 0. We're going to have 0 factorial. 0 factorial equals to 1. So I left with 7 factorial in the denominator. 7 factorial divided by 7 factorial equals to 1. Therefore I can write that 7 choose 7 equals to 1. So the coefficient for 7 choose 7 is 1. For 4, 7 minus 7 is 0. So I'm going to have 4 to the 0 and then times x to the 7. Look, my a is 4 here, 4. My b is x here, x. 4 to the 0 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 times x to the 7 is x to the 7. And there we got the final value for the 8th term. This is my 8th term, which is the last term for 4 minus x to the whole 7. And there we got it. Now let me try the direct way to find the 8th term. This is the direct expression to find any specific term. So I think better to use this. Since we know that n equals to 7 and k equals to 8, the value of n is 7 and the value of k, which is actually the name of the term. If it is 7th term, you're going to put k equals to 7. If it is 3rd term, you're going to put k equals to 3. So whatever number you have for the term here, 8, 7, 4th, 5th, 6th, this will be the value of the k. So plug in the value of n equals to 7 here, and plug in the value of k equals to 8 here. Plug in the value of a equals to 4, plug in the value of b equals to x. So plug in all the respective values. We're going to have 7 factorial or 7 minus 8 plus 1 factorial times 8 minus 1 factorial times 4 to the 7 minus 8 plus 1 times x to the 8 minus 1. Look, my n is 7, so plug in 7 all the way for all the blue n's. My k is 8, so plug in 8 all the way for all the k. What is my a? My a is 4, so plug in a equals to 4 here. What is my b? My b is x, so plug in b equals to x. Simplify it further. At the end you will get 8th term equals to x to the 7. So we got the same thing, t sub 8 equals to x to the 7, which we have achieved by going through this process. So whether you obtain for this process or this direct way, it is absolutely up to you. But I think it is better to go for this way. Look, 7 minus 8 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So I'm going to have 0 factorial here. 0 factorial is 1. 8 minus 1 is 7. So I will have 7 factorial. I have 7 factorial in the numerator and 7 factorial in the denominator. So this 7 factorial cancels with the 7 factorial in the denominator. Therefore, I'm going to have 1 here. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. Negative 1 positive 1 is 0. So I will have 4 to the 0. 4 to the 0 is 1. 8 minus 1 is 7. So I will have x to the 7. So x to the 7 times 1 is x to the 7. And there we got the final answer for the 8th term, which is x to the 7.